Hello and welcome to Catalyze Music Academy. My name is Zaak Kerstetter. I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer. And for today's quick tip, I want to show you how to make the sounds you were just listening to, which was basically by taking a percussive loop and applying the audio effect corpus to create some kind of melodic element to it. So corpus, if you haven't used it yet, is basically the sister effect of collision. So collision is an instrument that receives MIDI notes, and when you play a MIDI note, it triggers a resonator that generates your sound. This is generally for percussive kind of sounds like bells and marimbas and things like that. Works really well. However, corpus is basically the exact same thing, except for instead of being triggered by a MIDI note, it's going to be triggered by the volume of an incoming signal. So as you just heard, there's lots of different variety you can come up with it. I was using the variation settings on the new audio effect racks. That was pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this for right now so we can start from scratch. I was also using a few effects in this effects racks. We're going to go ahead and turn that off, and we'll come back to that later. So here's the sound, just the percussive sound by itself. Just an audio loop that I thought had a kind of a cool rhythmic element to it. So if we take this and I toss corpus on it, it's going to start generating a melodic sound on top of it, which is going to again be triggered by the volume of the incoming signal. There are a couple really key controls in corpus that you need to be aware of. Number one, we have 7 different resonator types, and these are all going to sound fairly different. So you just heard beam, here's string, which is different than like plate or tube. So they all sound kind of different. They're all pretty interesting. There's also an XY controller for each one of these. The XY controller will control, in this case, decay and radius, but it's different for each one. So as you move it around, you get lots of different sounds out of it. And like I said, it's going to be different for each one. Like that. There's a few other controls in here, but I want to focus on 2 really important ones. Number one, the dry white control. This is going to control the amount of your original signal versus your resonated signal. So if I turn this down, we're just going to hear the percussion. If I turn this up, we're just going to hear a resonator. And so I'm going to keep this fairly high for right now, just so we can really hear what's going on. The other really important control is the tuning control, which is set in hertz. So if I move this up and down, you're going to hear the pitch change. So it is fixed frequency, so it's always going to be playing the same note unless you were to automate this. It does tell you what the closest note is. So this closest note here is a 2, or 5 cents off of it. However, I don't want to have to manually automate my pitch. I just want it to play the notes I want it to play. So to do that, there is a built-in Midi sidechain. So this is one of the only audio effects in live that has a Midi sidechain, and we can access it by hitting this triangle right here. Here we can grab Midi from, and we can choose any track in our session. I'm just going to grab this empty Midi track I have right here. In order to make this work, I need to hit the frequency button. When I turn this on, our tuning control becomes a transpose control, and it will now respond to the incoming MIDI notes that are sent from another track. So over here on this orange track, I just have some MIDI notes that I've already written in. So when I hit play, this is going to play MIDI. It's going to send that MIDI to my audio effect, my corpus audio effect, and it's going to trigger those specific frequencies. So we can hear it changing as the notes are changing here. And while it's playing, I can go in here and start tweaking these settings until I get it sounding the way I want. So that's the basic idea here. We're basically taking the volume and the rhythm of one sound and combining it with the MIDI notes from a different track. So you can layer like this with your melody, so you can, whatever corpus is playing is the exact same notes that are already playing in your melody on another track, so you can layer them together, or you can do one or you can do the other. So from here, all I did was I added in these effects in this effects rack. I just have a delay, a tiny bit of overdrive, like not a whole lot of dry white here, and then a little bit of spectral time. This is one of the new audio effects that's really growing on me in Live 11. I'm using it to create this kind of like washed out reverby kind of sound. And then I've got a compressor that's going to be sidechained to this drum beat I have over here. So here's all of them together. To create this nice kind of like interesting rhythmic melodic sound that kind of gets me the best of both worlds. Gets me that cool rhythm that I like, but also gets me the notes that I want to play. So that's the basic idea there. MIDI sidechain on corpus, really, really handy. And then you can go nuts with effects and make it sound however you want. So hopefully that's interesting for you. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I release videos every Monday and Thursday about music production with Ableton Live. On top of that, you can feel free to check out our website, catalyzeacademy.com, for more info about classes and lessons and workshops that we offer. Again, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.